That could have been a disaster. Because I don't have any money. There's no bike shops around here, even if I did. But I could have gotten it true. If I had cash in my pocket, I could have gotten it true enough to ride into town, Little Rock, and gone to the very same place I bought the damn bike. Gotten a new rim, but that ain't happened. I don't have the money, and I'm not going to be able to come up with the money to do it. I know. I knew I was walking a tightrope. I'm always walking a tightrope. Glad I spent all the money on this bike, though, now, because a cheaper one, I liked my old bike. It had the deep rims. I don't care what you did, those rims didn't go out of true. I swear to God, they'd go out of true a little bit if you... It's once in a while I notice, man, it's a little bit out of true. I'm going to have to true these. And I'd bust out my spoke wrench later on to get down the road and get to a town. And I'd bust out and start spinning it. It's back in true. It would just like get back into true, whatever I'd done. Hit a big pothole or something, bang. Oh, shit. I'd hit a big pothole in the road or a huge rock. Not really, it's like camouflaged by the road or something, bang. Or there's just so many rocks you couldn't avoid it, because you're going too fast down the hill. It's like, oh shit, I'm gonna wreck if I try to swerve around this thing. Boom, get a pinch flat, boom, fix the flat. It was a little bit out of true. Oh, I'm gonna have to fix that later when I get into town. I get into town, it was worked its way back into true. Those deep rims, they're expensive. They weren't that expensive, they were Originate. I love that whole bike was Originate. I bought it and built it. I love that bike. It's at my mom's house in her closet. I'd ask her permission to. She had this storage closet she doesn't ever get into, really. She's got some stuff stored in there too, and it's like, sure. So I've got a spare bike. It's perfect running condition, but the bottom bracket seized. I was gonna replace it just because I had the money, and I was gonna refurbish everything and put all new, bottom bracket, pedals, free wheel chain ring. I was thinking about getting new rims too, the same kind. I was going to buy all that new stuff, new tires, brake pads, get brake cables, brake sheathings. I was going to refurbish it. Like I've done it several times on that bike. The first thing I was going to do is get the bottom bracket replaced. I took it to the bike shop, and the guy, I can't get this off. I realized, God, it was the fucking kayak trip. 2 months on the kayak, getting soaked and rained on laying on its side on the strap to the back of it. It just rusted into place, man. There's things you could do to get it out of there. Try to do that might work, but I need the tools for it. I need a drill to drill it out and spray it with some kind of penetrating oil like Kroll or liquid wrench, and then of course I need the crank puller and the tool to take off the bottom bracket. I need to get tools like that for this one. If I had a crank puller, the socket to take off that bottom bracket, and the socket to take off the freewheel on the back, there's not a single piece of bike mechanic work I can do on that myself. Just go to the bike shop, buy the parts, and thank you, see you later, and do it myself. I could buy the parts and have them in my bike before I even need to do it, or I could do it when I needed it, just at my convenience. I'm in a motel room right now. It's about time this got fixed. I'm gonna replace this bottom bracket right now. I'm gonna buy them. When I get to Chicago, I'm gonna do a few things. I'm gonna buy a lot of stuff I need again. I'm suffering, man. It's cold. I can't work today. I've got maybe $13 in cash. I put $20 on my debit card because I owed them $4 for the service fee, and there was no money to take off of it the first of this month. It's almost the next month. So here in another 6 days, they're going to want another $4 off that card, and it's going to be down to 12. My point is I could spend maybe $10 off of it if I get desperate. I need something to eat or coffee or something. It's going to be doing this for like 3 days. That's my point. I wish I could have taken the camera out and showed you the situation I was in, but it's just too dangerous. Cars are honking their horn. The car right there by me was like, whoa! He had to hit his brakes to keep... It was dangerous. Oh, God. Almost got killed, I guess. Yeah, it was perfect. The grate, it was... It wasn't that... Their bars of the grate weren't that far apart. I don't know why they don't have crossbars. They just don't care about bicyclists around here. That's why. You see that in other states where they're real bicycle friendly. Sometimes they'll have crossbars. I mean, grates on the road like that, but they have crossbars. This one didn't. So it was narrow in one end and narrow on the other, but it had widened for some reason. Cars running over it, and it just like had widened right there. And I just was riding over it at first, and then it slipped right in the middle, and it jammed in there where I couldn't pull it out. I had to like back it up and then pull it out. I was terrified. I got on it. I'm like, started riding. I'm like looking down there. Oh God, what am I going to see? And I couldn't even see anything. I'm like, whoa, this isn't bad. I could have ridden it like that, even if I didn't have the tools to fix it. I got it over here and checked it, and I saw that little bit of wobble. I'm like, I got OCD. I have to fix this. You have to anyway. A wobble like that will only get worse. I'm proud of her. It's not the first time I get hit by a car on this bike. You talk about replacing the rims. That's what happened. I got hit by a car, and the front rim was badly out of true. I got it in true enough to where it would ride, and I rode it down to the bike shop, and they put it on a rim stand. It's almost like a fork sticking up with a little caliper sticking out to a gauge. But like I was using my thumb as a gauge on that one. They have perfect gauges where they can dial it in to get it right next to it, and it's easier. And that guy got it pretty good, but he's like, you got to replace this. And that's my point, is that when I took it off to take it into him, I spun it. He goes, well, I'm going to check these hubs, because I'd been worried about it, because I'd heard that, because I'd noticed they were cup and cone, old-fashioned technology, and that, I don't know, I checked them, and they were grinding. Because I'd gotten online and checked, and they're like, these cup and cones, they might be brand new, they're nice. They're some of the best hubs for a lot of things, but you have to service them on a regular basis to keep them that way. And some people are warning, dude, the quality control at the factories in China suck. Those poor slaves they got working, they don't put grease in them. It's probably not even their fault. They're just like, I don't know, but they'll either tighten the cone nut down too tight or not enough, or they don't put enough grease on it. And if any one of those things, or all of them put together, will ruin the hub as soon as you start riding it. And that's what happened. Both of them were ruined. I took the other one off, checked it. I'm like, oh my God. I talked to the guy at the bike shop. He said, yeah, man, you're supposed to get those serviced as soon as you buy the bike. I'm like, why didn't the guy at this bike shop tell me that? He's like, I don't know. Yeah. And so I had him order me some new, he sent the specifications to a rim shop and had them built, and I went and picked them up, and he put them, tires on, he put my brake rotors on there, my tires and tubes on there for me, and I put them on my bike and rode off with $500. Woo! I'm stoked. I'm so stoked that I didn't ruin my bike. I feel a little bit of twinge in my back too. Salon Pass, some Tylenol, aspirin cream or something. We'll see. I'll know tomorrow when I get up out of bed if it's gonna bother me. I'll let you know how it turns out.